So, out of yet another dead vacuum brand that I like, which is kind of the story of my life, here is an LG Kompressor. I think it's LCV900B is the exact model number. So, this one is kind of uncommon. All the LGs are, but the uprights were still more popular than this canister. So this is kind of an odd, interesting machine. I saw this one day just by chance when it came out. Went into Best Buy for something completely different, and I saw one of these on the shelf. And I really kind of liked it. It was on sale at the time, and I brought one home. I ended up returning it and not buying this one until it was a store closeout when they were discontinued. But so, basic story behind this, if you're not familiar with LG's compressor system, is it's supposed to be a much more clean and sanitary way of disposing dust, as well as not having to empty your vacuum as often. So, what each compressor machine had, the uprights and the canisters both, there were two canisters, this one in a version very similar to it that just didn't have a power head, as well as, I want to say 3 distinct upright models. There were multiple ones based on the same design, but there were actually like 2 or 3 distinct upright design styles, from what I remember. But basically, you've got a wiper almost in here. And this arm goes back and forth. It's spun by a gear there that connects with this gear in the bottom. And basically, dirt flows into this canister. The wiper arm goes around and compresses it up against this wall in the back. And surprisingly, it works very well. It's not a very... I thought it was going to be kind of a gimmicky thing before I actually used and tried one. But it works very well. Despite how tiny that canister looks, I can go through my whole house on just one time without ever having to stop to empty it. If it does get too full on this canister, there is a empty tank light on the handle. And what will actually happen with that is once the machine realizes that there's basically too much dirt in there, too much resistance from the dirt to keep compressing any longer in any efficient manner, and to prevent damaging the motor and gear system that causes that to turn, it'll actually automatically shut the machine down entirely. So power head will turn off, suction motor will turn off, whole vacuum will stop, and that light will come on telling you to empty the machine. So beyond that, what you also have on every compressor model, be it canisters or uprights, and the execution is done a little bit differently, is this, I guess you could call it dual cyclonic cyclone setup, so it's just 2 opposed single cyclones that the airflow runs through. In the canister, it comes in down here at the air inlet at the base, goes in through these 2 channels here, is spun in through the cyclonic cassette. Whatever the cyclones can spin out goes straight down into the bin through that inlet at the top there, and then everything else goes into your washable filter. So obviously not the highest efficiency, but it still filters better than something like, say, the Electrolux Ultra Active that I've got. And then you've got 2 tools hidden away there, crevice tool, mediocre combination dusting brush, and upholstery tool. There's also a floor tool, I just don't have it out with it. It's kind of clunky. You actually have to have an adapter on the floor tool to make it fit onto the end of the wand with the electric one, but otherwise it's a good setup. And then you've got a washable, sealed Hepa filter, very much like Miele. And I think these machines came with like a 5-year warranty and a 5-year guarantee on the filters, from what I remember. I could be very wrong on that, though. So a pretty impressive, I guess, showing, or at least attempt on LG's part. They're really not bad machines, and what I was surprised to find the other day is you can actually still get parts for these, which I did not realize. You just have to get them through Sears Parts Direct, but everything is available for the most part. That's pretty much it as far as this goes. Then you've got the power head, and this was another nice thing that you got on all the LGs is, well, at least the ones, I should clarify that. All of the uprights and this canister that had the power head, and basically what the dual force system is, and the way LG always advertised it, is think of Hoover's wind tunnel, if it was created for better edge cleaning and better suction across the whole width of the nozzle instead of just focusing on picking up varying debris of dirt that are normally scattered. So what you've got is, you've got your normal suction channel. All the LGs from canister to upright had the suction channel pretty much dead center in the middle, so that already helps there. And then there are two segregated air channels off of that direct air into a pretty narrow channel on each side. I'm going to flip this over, but I don't think, from what I remember, you can really see much. But point being, you've got the suction channels on each side of the nozzle here to kind of just pull more dirt in, and I've been fairly impressed with how this edge cleans. We've got fairly deep edges where the carpet joins up against the wall all around the house here, and we've got the cats too, so cat hair gets down in there. Generally, you have to either take a crevice tool and run all the way around everywhere, or even sometimes an upholstery tool or something like that to really get the hair out. But this machine manages to pull most everything out in one pass and pull it straight in the machine, so I've been very impressed with that. The brush roll is very, very stiff. It's set up basically like a copy of the Elite or Classic wind tunnel brush roll, where it's got the ridges that the bristles ride on and then very stiff bristles in the brush roll itself. And other than that, it's pretty ordinary. You've got height adjustment and a belt reset there, telescopic wand, quick disconnects at each end, and then on the canisters and I believe most of the uprights, you always had remote controls for power, suction level, brush roll on-off, all right in the handle of the machine. So I'm going to use two hands and pause really quickly to stuff that Hepa filter back in there, and then we'll run a demo on this. Okay, so we are back. Now the other thing that I forgot to mention while we were taking a look at the power head is this also has an LED light in it, which I am very fond of. I always like having lights on vacuums, especially on power heads too. So when you turn the machine on, the power head always comes on automatically. This is the minimum suction setting currently for the canister. Then you can go up to max, and then it's just floor and carpet. Now, one of the things I've always been fond of with these is the way this Cyclonic cassette works. So, I just vacuumed this, and granted, very quickly, with the Bissell from the previous video. And now I'm going to turn the power head on again here, and if you watch the cassette, hopefully it'll come through. You can watch a ton of dust start piling in the canister. wiper going around to actually compress the dirt that's gotten into the canister. So, hit off on the handle, pull this out and see what came up. So, in a very short amount of time, cat hair, a decent amount of fine dust, and grit. And that's always been one of the things that has really impressed me with this machine and how well it works is I have yet to find a machine out of everything I've brought in this home that can honestly outperform this. I mean, I use Capture quite a lot. I've talked about this before. And the thing with Capture is it's really fine, and it gets very deep into carpets. It does a great job pulling out stains because of that, but it also makes it very difficult to pull out with a vacuum. Now, I had actually stopped using this because I thought I couldn't get any parts. When you go online and search for parts for these, nothing really comes up. When you go on Esco or Steel City, two of the vendors for vacuum dealers, you can't get schematics. No parts come up for any LG, period. And then the other day I had to dig a little deeper. We actually had a customer who brought in one of these, needed a new hose for it. And basically what we found out is the only place you can get them from is Sears Parts Direct, but basically everything is available, from filters to brush rolls to the whole hose assembly and parts, everything, really. So I started using it again. Now, it had been about, I want to say at least 3 months, but it was probably more like 6 in most of the areas, since some spots had been worked on with Capture, and I had done the entire rug in there under the table with Capture. And in that time, they've been cleaned over with all the areas with 2 F&G machines fairly thoroughly, the Clear Track, as well as the Kirby, the Avalier. And surprisingly enough, I turned this on, went over what I thought had been cleaned well, and a ton of Capture came piling right in, and I was able to see it and clean until it was completely gone. And this machine has really never failed to impress me. Everywhere I take it, I can always find dirt with it. One of the most, I guess, telling memories that I have of it is not too long after I got it, I took it over to my grandparents. And now, my grandfather loves using like baby powder, shit like that, and they have central air, so it finds its way all through the house, gets blown through, tracked all through the carpet. And there was this one spot in one of their bedrooms in the back that it was a traffic area next to the bed, and it was just, the carpet looked completely ruined. The carpet in the rest of the room was fine, but no matter how well you went over it with any of the other machines that I had taken there, the pile just would not lift up. And I brought this over once, took it onto that section of carpet, and the first thing I noticed, because I was watching the entire time I was cleaning, like I said, their house is filled with a lot of fine dust. I was watching the air path in the Cyclonic cassette to see what would be coming in, and you know, how much, how long it would take to remove, and that area was just loaded with not only all kinds of fine dust, but grit as well. And I just sat in that one area cleaning until I couldn't get anything more out. The canister was full by that point, and the carpet looked brand new. And it has ever since with actual maintenance after using this, but that was one of the first times that the actual power of this machine really struck me. And I'm sure you can find something that will out-clean it, but the thing that I've always liked, especially on the bagless end, is you can see what's coming in. You know where you need to clean and for how long, and that's really one of my biggest things behind bagless and why I do love it so much, and have come to love it even more over the years, is because of machines like this that are not only very capable in cleaning to begin with, but let you know when everything is actually gone. So, yeah, that's about all I have to say on this. It's been a brilliant machine, and I really wish LG would have kept designing these, because this is one of the very, very few machines that you can actually empty without getting a huge cloud of dust in your face. Basically, the compressed bits of dirt just come right out in these little clumps and fall out. You're done. You put it back in, you wash the filters out when they get dirty, and that's about it for maintenance. It's a very simple machine that performs incredibly well and is low maintenance for bagless, at least as far as a unique bagless setup goes.